بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of moral philosophy. We said that we need to build our own ethical theory, and here we mean our theory with respect to normative ethics. What makes some action good or bad, right or wrong? What makes a quality virtuous or not? And we already mentioned some aspects. Now, we want to continue with a very fundamental topic. And without this, we cannot decide about whether we should be egoist or altruist or universalist, etc. And that is, what is the main reason for us to do something or to go somewhere or to say something or not to do or say or go anywhere? Why we do, for example, eat, why we study, what's the reason, why we help other people. There is an idea that we already talked about it, which is known as psychological egoism, which says that this is the way that human beings function. So automatically they think about their own interests and then they do things. In Islamic philosophy, as much as I have seen, and I also want you to study, so after this discussion, please go and do research and see whether we can find other theories, other opinions among Muslim philosophers in general or moral philosophers in particular or not. But among those who have explicitly talked about this issue, it seems that the majority are in favor of hubbuz dhat being the main factor, the main reason for doing things or not doing things. Everything goes back to hubbuz dhat, self-love. The late Ayatollah Misbah, in some of his works, lectures, seemed to support this, except maybe with respect to Irfan, maybe he was thinking differently. Some of the brothers who have written books on Islamic philosophy, they have supported this idea. In my life, I think I only had maybe once, or maybe very little, I don't know, maybe once, twice, kind of scientific debate, and that was about this issue some years back. So as far as I have seen and I have heard, it seems that most of our thinkers are in favor of hubbuz dhat to be the reason for doing things. Even, for example, if we sacrifice our interests and give priority to someone else, like ithar. That ithar means you prefer others to yourself. Again, they say it's because of hubbul dhat. Even when we worship Allah, it's worship for hubbul dhat. Even someone who becomes a martyr, it's because of hubbul dhat. Means even a martyr knows that to give his life is better. In the long term, you are giving something small and getting something bigger. And you can find evidence for it as well. That, for example, Quran says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ. Or هَلْ أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَى تِجَارَةٍ تُنْجِيكُمْ مِنْ عَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. So this is a tijara, it's a business. In Khutbatul Muttaqin, Amir al-Mu'minin said, تِجَارَةٌ مُرْبَحَةٌ يَسَّرَهَا لَهُمْ رَبُّهُمْ أَرَادَتْهُمُ الدُّنْيَا فَلَمْ يُرِيدُوهَا وَأَسَرَتْهُمْ فَفَدَوْا أَنفُسَهُمْ مِنْهَا. If it is tijara, means you are giving something and you are taking something else, and normally if it is making profit means you are taking something which is more valuable. So you are not giving away anything, you are not giving anything totally. It's just business interaction. So this is very popular. Some people have said this is true except for Urafa, for true mystics, for true lovers of Allah. They are not operating based on hubbul dhat, but the rest are hubbul dhat. Even a mother who sacrifices her comfort, her rest, her health, and even sometimes her life to look after her child, they say this is again hubbul dhat, because a mother without this would not feel happy, would feel very bad if the child is in trouble, or if she doesn't go for the child and help in the middle of night, mother feels bad. So they say this is out of hubbul dhat. So inshallah you go and research, because we really want to see what is the truth here, what is haqq, and I share with you my ideas, but you don't need to accept it. I want you to think about it, to study, to discuss, research, do research, and inshallah we can next week continue. As I said some years back, I was writing a book on ethics, which I didn't complete, I didn't publish it, but I can share with you that text right now, because I tried to write word by word carefully. I'm sorry it is in Farsi for some of the brothers and sisters who join us from London. Might be difficult, but some of you may still benefit, inshallah. Do you see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So this was the third, or still is the third chapter of that inshallah book, which may come in future. So I thought maybe this is the best way to start, to see how human beings make their moral decisions. So perhaps we can say it in this way, that practically ethics starts when we open our eyes and find ourselves in lots of relations. A human child, when becomes self-conscious, then realizes that has to make relations, or is already in relations and has respond to these relations with mother, father, siblings, toys, objects at home, air, light, many things. So we need to regulate these relations. We try to understand what is happening around us and what is there around us, and then behave properly. It seems as if we are the center of the world. Yeah, for us it's like this. So we are the center of thousands or millions of relations, and everything, although might be independent, but the way they appear to us and the way they matter to us, it's because they have relation with us. Now, the question here is, what are the factors that bear on my interaction with others or even with myself? How should I behave towards my father, my mother, my siblings? How should I behave towards people that I don't know or strangers? With the objects around me, with things which are around me, maybe animals, maybe, I don't know, etc. How should I behave with respect to my own properties, things that I own? Okay. So, how should I behave with respect to my properties? I have a toy, for example, I have my clothes, or when I become more understanding, about my talents, skills, potentials. So, there are different ways to behave. There are different ways to respond. Certainly, we need some criteria for making our decisions. So, I said, what happens is that whatever we want to do, whatever relation we want to make, we would check it against our ideals, our aims and objectives. And three possibilities are there. Sometimes I find this is beneficial for me in reaching my aims or ideals. Sometimes I find it harmful, in conflict with them. And sometimes I find it neutral. If I find something is leading to my ideals or aims, or can lead to that, it's helpful, it's beneficial, then I will decide to do it. If I see it's in conflict and harmful, I try to avoid it. If it is neutral, neither it helps nor it harms, then I need some additional reason and motivation for doing it. I don't do anything which is just useless. I have to have a reason, additional. If this is in itself is neutral, so I need to have something from outside that would help me to decide. For example, I have a discussion, maybe inshallah we get chance, we talk about it. What is the difference between morals and customs? اخلاقیات و آداب و رسوم. When it comes to customs, normally these customs don't involve direct moral value. They don't directly benefit us in our search for our ideals. But if in society we make a kind of agreement that, for example, when we are mourning, we wear black or white. Suppose we don't have anything else to consider. Okay, you can have white, you can have black, you can have any color. It's like you can drive on the right side of the road, you can drive on the left side of the road, you can drive anyway. Morally, this is neutral. But for the sake of harmony, for the sake of having order and not disorder and not conflict in the society, it's good to agree on something, although in itself is neutral, but then there is additional consideration, says, okay, right or left or black and white are the same, but just you have to agree on one of them so there is harmony. People know what to expect from each other. If there is funeral, we should know whether we should go with black dress or with white dress. When we go to road or motorway, should I drive on the right side or left side? And both of them works, but which one is something that we all can agree in our community? So there are three options. If something is beneficial, meaning it is helping in the search for my ideals, then I would say this is good and I should do it. If something is harmful, I say it's bad and I should avoid it. If it is neutral, this is not enough reason and I need to look for something additional, accidental. Now, there are 2 points that I would like to make here. When I say something has to be beneficial so that I would decide to do it, or if something is harmful, I would decide not to do it, means in my assessment, not in reality. Because many times I may think something is useful and do it, but in reality maybe I was mistaken. It doesn't matter. Even if I'm mistaken, but if I have come to this judgment that this is good for my ideals, I would do it. I'm not saying this is, making no difference, but I'm saying it is enough to motivate me. If I think something is useful, I would do it, even if I'm mistaken. Because the reason for doing is to go one step forward towards your ideals, and you think this is the thing. It's like, for example, what in Islamic philosophy, we have about ladha and alam, pleasure and pain. That idrakul mula'im bima huwa mula'im. If you have understanding of something which is pleasant to your soul and you feel it is also pleasant, you will get pleasure. Even if it is by mistake, you get pleasure. So, what is important is your judgment. Although, in order to reach your ideals in reality, you have to make sure that your judgment is following the truth. But even if it is not following the truth, it still can motivate you. When there is shawq mu'akkad, it will be followed by will and decision. When there is a strong desire, it would lead to action. But how you have developed this great desire, sometimes it can be based on a wrong assessment. So, what is important is the doer, the agent should have assessment. Maybe something is very beneficial, the agent is not aware, so doesn't follow it. Sometimes something is not useful, but he thinks it's very useful, he would do it. Sometimes you may take poison thinking that it's medicine. And sometimes someone may not take the medicine thinking it's poison. It's possible. Because it's not enough that in reality it is medicine. It's not enough that it's in reality it's poison. What can motivate us is our assessment, our evaluation. What you think to be the case. I'm not saying this means that there is no difference between taking poison or medicine. Certainly it makes a big difference to take medicine or poison. It makes huge difference. But I'm saying for you to be motivated, it's just what you think about this, not the reality. Because you may not know the reality. The next point is that sometimes we don't have pure positivity or negativity. It's not that either this leads to my aims or ideals, or it harms, or it's neutral. It's simple. 100% beneficial, 100% harmful, or 100% neutral. Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes something is giving me mixed kind of feelings. For example, maybe a person is thinking about a smoking cigarette. On the one hand, he knows that a smoking cigarette is very harmful to his health and would stop him pursuing his perfection. So it's bad. On the other hand, may get some pleasure or some relief, for example, from pain, for example, etc., stress, by smoking cigarette. So we don't have pure benefit and harm, pure pleasure and pain. We have a combination. Maybe in the short term, a smoking cigarette gives some satisfaction. In the long term, creates lots of problems. What would then the person do? I think every person would have his own way of calculating and checking the benefit against the harm, or the pleasure against the pain, the achievement through loss. Some people may say, no matter how much instant satisfaction I may get, for me my health is more important. I don't want to take any risk with my health. Someone may just go for the instant pleasure and says, maybe my health would be alright, or even if it's not alright, I want to enjoy. What's the benefit of life without the smoking, for example? So, people may have different ways of weighing for and against, pros and cons, and making final assessment. But in the end, it seems everyone would only do what in their assessment is the best for them. Not purely good, because there's no purely good option here. But say, those who smoke say, smoking is better for me, based on their worldview, etc., if they are after pleasure, etc. Some people say, for me, my health is very important. So to assess is sometimes easy because there is only one aspect, and sometimes it's difficult because there is a mixture of good side and bad side, pleasure and pain, and you have to find the overall situation. Now we go to the discussion about Hubbullah. I said it seems for anything to be able to motivate the agent for action, there are at least two conditions. How you get motivated. Someone tells you there is, for example, a person in that part of the city, or there is a gathering there. How do you get motivated to go there? So I said there are two conditions. One is that that thing should be relevant to me and related to me. I should have some interest in it. I should have some concern for it. If they tell me, someone is now opening his house door and entering, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not interested in going and see what is happening. But if they say someone is opening the door of your home, you would quickly go to check, because you are interested in this house matters to you. You have concern for it. So for us, in order to do something or undertake a task, we should have some concern about it. We should have some interest in it. I'm not saying we should have benefit, I'm saying interest in it. It means it matters to me. We have concern. Another example is that, for example, if someone has put some stones on the road, maybe you say it's fine, I can drive safely, I can avoid it, or anyway this happens. But if you go to your home and you see that neighbors or others have thrown some stones to your court, to your yard, then you would be very upset. Say, it's in my house, why this has happened? So the first thing that must be related to this person, to the agent. About mothers who are icons of love and sacrifice, and you see that in the middle of night, sometime with a little cry of the child, the mother wakes up. Maybe the father doesn't wake up. Maybe this mother, when it was a girl, was not waking up when there was a little noise at home. But when she becomes a mother, she quickly wakes up and gets up, actually, not just wakes up, gets up to see what has happened to her child. Why mother does this? Because this child is important for her. She cares for this child. Maybe if an adult cries, she still continues sleeping. Maybe she doesn't notice even. She doesn't notice. But for her child, she notices. Even sometimes mothers, when the children are away, the child is at work, is in place of a study, but mother feels. because the child matters. But she doesn't feel the same about children of other people. Or there are soldiers who are happy to fight for safety of their people and for the independence of their country. But maybe these soldiers would not do the same with respect to other countries. Even sometimes, unfortunately, some people who are very much supportive of their own country, they may attack other countries. Or they may not bother if others are attacked because they have no interest. This is not my country. I would only fight for my own country. I said, even for example, we have Doctors Without Borders. So although these Doctors Without Borders, they are not restricting their services to any group, to their own people, their own country, their own religion, their own ethnicity. No. Doctors Without Borders. There is no limit. But, for example, these Doctors Without Borders, with respect to a scope of people who benefit from them, they are not discriminating. They are inclusive. But maybe, for example, with respect to problems, if you have other issues with them that they can help you, they say, no, we don't have any interest, or it's not our main interest. For example, if you have issue about justice, they may say, no, we are just doctors. We can help you with health. We cannot help you with, for example, justice. Why? Because they have undertaken particular task, and then they say this is not relevant to us. So everything has to be relevant to the agent so that they decide to do something about it. Point 2, the second condition. Not only they should have some kind of relation with us that would make us interested in them and concerned for them and caring for them, they should also occur in our search for our ideals. So I should have interest in it, but also I should find it serving my benefits, my interests. I have concern about it, but it also helps me. We would never do anything that would harm my aims, or even anything that, after careful consideration, I've realized it has nothing to do with my aims and my ideals. I find it useless. I would not do it. A work which is totally disconnected from me and my aims, I would not do it. Now, here a very important question arises. This is where I am little by little developing my idea. What I acknowledge is you should have ta'alluq khatir. You should have some interest in it. You should have some concern about it. But why your concern should be only egoistic? Why it cannot be altruistic? Why I cannot have interest in the benefits that other human beings receive? I am concerned about my health. Why I cannot be concerned about health of other people? So if you accept that we genuinely have concern for others, then it doesn't go back to hubbuz zat. Because to have interest for everyone is not hubbuz zat. To do things just because it is beneficial for me, this is hubbuz zat. So a common answer among Muslim philosophers who have dealt with this issue is that they say self-love is the unique factor, the only factor. And even forgiveness, guzasht, which means ithar, self-sacrifice, etc., even giving your life is based on hubbuz zat. But long-term hubbuz zat with basira, so that you know that you shouldn't cheat, you shouldn't harm people, you shouldn't do zulm. They are not really helping you, they are not really benefiting you. Hubbuz zat, but with insight, with basira, would make you concerned about others. But it is because of hubbuz zat. I said, according to this view, ایثار قطعاً پسندیده و قاعدتاً ممکن است. Certainly, to prefer others to ourselves is great and it's possible. But what is the meaning of إيثار? After careful consideration, إيثار is not to prefer others' interests and benefits to your benefits and interests. إيثار means that you have two types of benefits. A short-term benefit by taking yourself that thing. For example, there's water, you take it for yourself. There's long-term benefit, and that is by ithar, by giving it to someone else. So you are not totally disregarding yourself. So since human beings through helping others can flourish, or through serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can flourish, or through having ethical life can flourish, they should do so. But it's because of their own self-development. Even sometimes people are happy to fight for their country or others, to help others, to undertake a risk, and even to die. But they think to die with getting that pleasure of helping people, and then people recognizing your bravery, your sacrifice, it's worth giving this life. Then I said, please pay attention, because sometimes they say there is no consideration of her own benefits by mother. People like, for example, scholars that I have mentioned, like Ayatollah Misbah, they may say no, even mother quickly makes assessment. Sometimes assessment, because you have qualities, you have malakat, doesn't take time, but it takes place. You think, I did it automatically, but it was not automatically. Your mind quickly made some assessment. So I said there is difference between something benefiting me in reality and something being benefiting me, and then because of that I have done it. I know that if a mother takes care of her child, she feels happier compared to the time that she ignores her child. Most of the mothers, of course, unless mother loses her fitra and her instincts. Normally speaking, a mother after sacrifice feels better. Or for example, your father needs water, father is thirsty. You know that Allah wants you to give water to your father. You know that there is reward for this. You gain benefit from it. But do you do it for the sake of reward, or you can do it regardless? I am not saying it's not going to be rewarded. I'm saying definitely it will be rewarded. Definitely it's going to help you. But this doesn't mean that you have definitely taken it into consideration. And if they say, no, it has happened quickly, it's irtikazi, I say, why? Even after careful examination, we may not find this. Mothers, when they help their children extremely and in difficult cases, and they really are in pain, and sometimes they suffer a lot, but they don't mention anything just to look after the children. If you ask them, do you do this for having long-term happiness? They say no. Say, please check yourself. Maybe it's very quickly happening. Maybe this is in your mind, but you didn't notice. They check again and again, and they say no. I do it regardless. Even I don't do this necessarily for the sake of getting reward. I do it regardless. I do it automatically. If I see my father, for example, is thirsty, I want to go and bring for him a cup of water. I would not think, okay, if I take him water, I will get some reward. If I don't give him water, Allah would be angry with me. I will lose my tawfiq, my life becomes short. I don't do such calculations. I just automatically do this. For me, it's enough. Whether I am thirsty or my father is thirsty. I don't need to say, when I am thirsty, I have a good reason, because I have hubbul zat. If my father is thirsty, I don't have good reason, because I don't have genuine hubbul ghayr. It has to be translated into hubbul zat. No. My understanding is this, that hubbul zat is there. There is no doubt about it. Also, 99 maybe percent of what human beings do maybe is based on hubbul zat. Maybe. But what I'm saying is, hubbul zat is not the only fundamental desire that we have, or fundamental motivation that we have. I want my happiness, and I can want happiness of others directly, independently, without saying that happiness of others make me happy, so therefore I want happiness of others because I want to be happy. It's not like this. If I know people in another part of the world, they are not my friends, they are not my relatives, they are not even, for example, Muslims. Yeah, they are not from my country, they don't speak my language, they don't look like me, my color is not the same as them. But still, if I hear that there are human beings who suffer, I suffer. I'm not saying everyone suffers. I say we can suffer genuinely. And if they are happy, I am happy. Not that I am happy that they are happy because I benefit from it. I may not benefit from it. It's possible. I'm not saying everyone is like this. I'm saying human beings are made in such a way that not only they have interest in their own benefits, they have interest in other people's benefits. Not only pleasure and pain for themselves affect them and for those who are related to them and associated with them, but also for other people, even for animals. We don't want even an animal to suffer. It makes us sad, whether it's my animal, someone else's animal, even maybe I have not seen that animal. I'm never going to see that animal. If I hear that in one part of the world there's an animal who is mistreated, I feel bad. So here I say there is a difference between something benefiting me in reality and to benefit me being the reason for doing it. Maybe I do things selflessly, but still in reality they are beneficial for me. For example, like ibadah, if you do ibadah out of love, certainly it would help you, but you are not doing it for getting benefit from it. So for example, for mothers, I said if a mother is keeping awake because the child has fever, the mother may not think, at least some mothers would not think that, okay, it's better if I wait and my child is better, then I sleep, otherwise I feel bad. Because I don't want to feel bad, that's why I care about my child. So if I didn't know, that's fine then. Which mother says that I wish I didn't know my child had fever, because when I knew that he had fever, I couldn't sleep. I felt I have to look after him or her so that I can, not feel bad. No, they want to know. They keep asking to make sure that the child is okay. Or someone who sees an orphan who needs help, for example, or needs love, needs care, may do it for reward, but may do it just genuinely. Maybe not even thinking about reward. Those who do it for the sake of reward is good, but it's like tijara. It's like a business. According to the common view, which reduces everything to hubb al-zat, the way they analyze is that they say irtikazan means implicitly mother or whoever is like mother doing some sacrifice, they make quickly some calculations, but it wouldn't take time, so you don't notice. And according to them, if they would be able to just not know, then they may not have interest. If you ask them, is it possible that someone totally forgets his or her own benefits? As I said, some people say Orafa may do this, and some people say even Orafa cannot do things. And the only thing is, if someone is heedless, may do something without consideration. Like, when we play with our beard or with our rings or with our hair, maybe this is just when we are heedless, we do something. Although, according to philosophers, they say even here we have some reason for doing it. Even these things that we call them, abath, etc. Still, there's a process that goes in the mind of the agent, and the agent finds it better to do this and then does it. So, I said, این پاسخ که مبتنی بر نظریه متعارف درباره حب ذات است دارای امتیازات فراوانی بوده. It has lots of advantages and has explanatory power. It can explain many things. Many of human moral experiences can be explained in that way. But it seems to me, I'm saying it with maximum humbleness, it seems to me that to just emphasize on hubb zat as the only motive behind our actions cannot explain all. It can explain many, but not all our moral experiences, like ithar, like ishq. Ithar, as we said, means to prefer others, genuine, unconditional love, emotions of mothers towards their children, worships and services of urafa cannot be explained well according to Hubbuzat. You know what we have in our hadith, that you may worship Allah not because of fear from hell nor because of expectation of heaven. You may just find him worthy of this ibadah. وَجَدْتُكَ أَهْلًا لِلْعِبَادَةِ فَعَبَدْتُكَ. Or out of hope, out of love for Allah, you do it, not out of Hubbuzat. So I said maybe they can add something to their theory to answer these questions, but so far I haven't found very detailed explanation. So this is why I kept asking you. You also now go and search, see if you find something that can explain this on behalf of those people. So now there is another question. Can we have pure altruism? Hubbuzat, we said, is good for many things. Maybe 90% of things can be explained. But can we have also pure altruism? I say yes, but not instead of Hubbuzat. In my humble opinion, human beings have both in parallel. We are egoist and altruist. And this is different from being universalist. No, we are egoist and altruist, both of them. Most of people, maybe just they are acting out of egoism. But it's possible that you act out of altruism, regardless of yourself. You ignore yourself. So here I have explained different possibilities here, but I want also add something else. When I was writing on this issue, so I reached this point that we can have genuine egoism and altruism. But then I thought maybe these two can also both go back to something which is more fundamental. Egoism means you want good things for yourself. Altruism means you want good things for others. You remember the definition of egoism and altruism. So we said egoists say an action is morally good if it leads to good outcomes. We said the second good is not moral. The second good has to be defined outside morality, like welfare, nearness to Allah, whatever it is, self-realization, peace, etc. So there are two good. Altruists say an action is morally good if it leads to good results for others. So we can say we have interest in good results for ourselves. We have interest in good results for others. Or to go one level deeper and say we have interest in those good things, like good results, regardless of who is the beneficiary. Most of the time it emerges in an egoistic way. For example, I have interest in what, say for example, peace. I have interest, for example, in pleasure and not having pain. Most of the time it emerges in egoistic way. It means I want it for myself to have pleasure and not pain. But it can be also for others. So instead of saying there are two parallel things in us, one makes us egoist and the other makes us altruist, we can say human beings have interest in those good things as such. Whether it is for themselves or for others, it's a secondary issue. We love beauty. If I can get something beautiful, I love it. If I hear someone else can get something beautiful, again, I like it. I become happy. I want knowledge for myself. If other people also have knowledge, I want it. If I am operating at the level of a full human being, if I have become very selfish, of course, I don't bother about others, or maybe even I greedy, I want everything for myself. But human beings can allow altruistic desires to be there genuinely, or even go deeper and have desire for certain values as such, regardless of who is beneficiary. Like beauty, pleasure and not pain, for example, peace, prosperity, nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowledge, loved, being loved and loving. These are important human desires, fundamental desires, because these are our ideals, and desires are helping us to move towards our ideals. So this is then helping us to connect, inshallah, this discussion also to virtues, because then virtues are very close to loving these issues as such. So if you love truth as such, not truth that benefits you, if you love truth regardless, then you are truthful as a virtuous person, and your actions are also inspired by that. If you are a person who is very kind, you don't want kindness to be only given to you. You want to be kind to everyone. You want others also to treat you with kindness, but you want also to offer kindness, and you want others, even those that you don't know, to treat each other with kindness. So please think about it, study, and inshallah, I like, that the next time we meet, and we have, alhamdulillah, some holidays, so you have time to do some work. I like to hear your findings so that we can, inshallah, develop this further. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Are there any questions?
So much, dear Ustad.
May Allah bless you, inshallah. Ahsan.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Isn't it possible that if we accept the unity of existence for our this Ba'ath group, then, or we accept this Sarayana Wujud. Then doing something for yourself is just like doing something for others. But then loving God is loving yourself and loving everybody else.
How?
Because then, excuse me, then egoism equals altruism, because then we are all one in existence.
No, that doesn't necessarily imply this. Then those who are also selfish, they say, okay, I eat, for example, your food, and because of Sarayana Wujud, you have also eaten it.
Well, I don't think it means that.
Yeah, because you want to say every being is connected. Okay, but still you can be selfish. You say this part of it is important for me. You should be satisfied because we are all connected.
But then God is not satisfied. So
Yeah, so then Sarayana Wujud is not solving the problem. There is something more.
maybe I should think more about that. Thank you.
You are welcome. May Allah bless you. Maybe I didn't understand your point. I don't know. Anything else?
It seems that there is nothing else.
Okay. So please also remember you have to study the book by Ayatollah Misbah. So